You think dropping $3,000 on a flagship PCP rifle guarantees you a perfectly placed shot at 100 yards? You're dead wrong. The majority of traditional firearm guys think air rifles are just basement toys, and it costs them a massive wake-up call when they see us stacking heavy slugs at 200 yards. But here is the raw truth. Even the best slug shooter on the market will perform like absolute garbage if you starve it of the right support gear. Stop throwing your hard-earned cash at cheap rimfire glass and analog junk just because you blew your entire budget on the gun. Look, if you want extreme precision in 2026, you need the ballistic infrastructure to back it up. We are breaking down the top 7 essential accessories that dictate who hits the target and who goes home empty-handed. Kicking off the list at number 7, we are looking at electronic anti-cant devices and leveling diagnostics. You can have the most accurate tack driver on the planet, but if you tilt that rifle even a fraction of a degree, your slug is going off target at 100 yards. I know the traditional firearm guys will doubt this, but sound off below if you have ever pulled a shot because your cheap liquid bubble level was impossible to read in the shadows. The Shooter's Global SG Pulse Pro fixes that problem instantly. Let us get into the mechanics of why this actually matters. Rifle cant is an insidious problem because your scope reticle is perfectly calibrated to track vertical gravity drops. When you cant the rifle, you physically alter the geometric relationship between the optical line of sight and the physical bore axis. The SG Pulse Pro mounts directly to your Picatinny or M-LOK rail and uses an internal gyroscopic sensor to track that geometry. It gives you a highly visible LED and color LCD indicator that glows like a fighter jet cockpit, warning the exact instant your rifle is perfectly plumb. This little unit does not just sit there and look pretty. It actually features a built-in stage timer and an integrated numerical cosine indicator. That cosine indicator calculates the severe angles of steep uphill or downhill shots, adjusting the effective gravitational distance so you do not overshoot your target when shooting out of a tree stand. It even pairs via Bluetooth to the Shooter's Global Drills app to give you a digital dope card right on the device. By continuously recording the micro movements of your muzzle right before and after the trigger press, it analyzes your physical stability on a granular level. But here is the deal breaker for some guys. You are paying a massive premium for convenience. The damage to your wallet runs between $147 and $196, depending on the mounting hardware you choose. When you compare that to a cheap liquid spirit bubble level from the hardware store, it feels like a steep entry fee. But if you are shooting an expensive electronic rig like a Daystate Delta Wolf with a trigger pull measured in ounces, this diagnostic feedback is exactly what you need to eradicate human error. Stepping up the physical foundation of your shooting system. Coming in at number 6, we have elite stability platforms. Specifically, we are talking about heavy-duty hardware like the MDT CKYE-POD Gen 3 and the BOG DeathGrip clamping tripod. You can have the best glass in the world and the smartest ballistic app on your phone, but if your firing platform wobbles, you're just making noise. Throwing heavy slugs downrange requires absolute rigidity, especially when managing the recoil impulse of modern big-bore air rifles. Let us break down the exact mechanics of the MDT CKYE-POD Gen 3 triple pull. This is not just a couple of springs and sticks holding up your forend. It features a highly adaptable head compatible with ARMS number 17 interfaces, facilitating lightning-fast attachment to the Arca Swiss rails dominating the current market. The real magic is how it delivers a buttery smooth 360-degree pan and 170-degree cant functionality. This mechanical design allows you to track moving small game or perfectly level your rifle on brutally uneven terrain without ever having to lift or reposition the legs. Deploying this system is incredibly satisfying. The legs lock into place with a heavy mechanical clack that sounds like slamming the door of a steel safe. For the hunters who need a fully standing setup for deep concealment ambush positions, the BOG DeathGrip remains the industry standard. It utilizes a patented heavily padded vise-like clamp that physically locks the airgun into the saddle. You can step entirely away from the rifle during a freezing hunt because the thick-walled aluminum or carbon fiber legs completely isolate your human heartbeat and muscle tremors from the chassis. Look, we have to be real about the drawbacks. The ergonomic deal breaker with the MDT triple pull is its sheer bulk and complexity in thick brush. Having a massive height range from 9 inches to 36 inches means you have multiple leg sections and a wide footprint that will snag on every single vine and branch you walk past. It is almost excessive for a quick squirrel hunt in the woods, and the financial hit is no joke. That specific MDT model sets you back roughly $999.99. Moving into the top 5, we have to talk about barrel harmonics and the FX integrated harmonic barrel tuner. This is a solid piece of kit for dialing in your groups, but wait until you see the absolute ballistic monster we have waiting at number 1. When you are pushing heavy airgun slugs at extreme distances, the physical dynamics of your barrel become the primary limiting factor to your accuracy. Throwing 25 cal projectiles downrange requires absolute mechanical harmony. Let us pop the hood on how this actually works. When your rig fires, the sudden release of high-pressure air through the internal valve slams into the breech, creating violent pressure waves. This causes the barrel to vibrate and oscillate wildly, which is a physics phenomenon known as barrel whip. The FX system utilizes a specially designed carbon fiber liner sleeve that physically stiffens the overall barrel assembly to inherently lower that initial whip. But the real secret is the integrated rotating running weight situated at the muzzle end of the shroud. By rotating this dense metallic mass inward or outward by microscopic increments, you alter the harmonic node so the slug exits exactly when the barrel is at its briefest stationary point, spits heavy lead like Nielsen Specialty Ammo or JSB knockouts with absolute authority. When you get this system dialed perfectly, the chaotic vibration is killed instantly. Firing the gun feels entirely different. The harsh metallic ping of the barrel whip is gone, leaving just a dead, hollow thud like a heavy rubber mallet striking a thick wooden block. The shroud design also provides inherent noise dampening, acting to subdue the acoustic signature of the airgun, making it perfect when you need to quietly dispatch backyard pests. Honestly, the major deal breaker here is the sheer performance quirk of the tuning process itself. You cannot just slap this tuner on your muzzle and expect magic. Getting a heavy slug to fly straight means you are endlessly balancing the regulator pressure, the macro hammer wheel, and making tedious decimal adjustments to the micro hammer screw just to find the right velocity before you even touch the tuner. It is an obsessive, time-consuming air management headache. Street price varies depending on your specific platform, but it remains an indispensable tool if you refuse to pay a third-party gunsmith to tune your rig. Now we get into the serious, extreme long-range gear with rank number 4, Advanced Ballistic Rangefinders. The ability to mathematically predict your drop using radar is completely useless if you do not know the exact distance to your target. Pushing 30 cal slugs downrange requires pinpoint yardage because our projectiles look like severe parabolic curves rather than flat lines. If you have an estimation error of just 3 to 5 yards at extended distances, you will completely miss the kill zone on small game or drop a crucial point in a field target competition. Looking at the technology, the Element Optics Titan 3K is an absolute game changer for 2026. Let us dig into the mechanics of its 1.8 MRAD beam divergence and first target priority mode. Standard commercial lasers frequently spread out and bounce off the massive background terrain behind a small target, returning a falsely long distance. This system uses a tightly focused beam that ignores the deep brush or distant hillsides, ensuring it registers the very first object it contacts. It guarantees you get the precise distance to that tiny target, not the terrain hundreds of yards behind it. Highly intelligent and packed with Bluetooth, this device pulls data straight from the Element Ballistics mobile app. You construct a detailed profile with your specific ballistic coefficient, muzzle velocity, and scope height, and beam it directly into the onboard memory. Pressing the ranging button feels like snapping a crisp glass rod, and instantly, the internal sensors calculate line of sight distance, incline angles, and atmospheric conditions. The exact turret dial solution flashes on a crisp TOLED display that glows like a red-hot ember, outputting exactly how many MILS or MOA to hold over. Listen, there is a major physical reality check with this unit. Trying to accurately lace a target at its maximum range of 3,000 meters freehand is virtually impossible because human hand tremors will throw the laser completely off the mark. It features a 1/4 by 20 threaded mount on the base, so you can attach it to Arca Swiss plates and tripods for maximum stability, meaning you are hauling extra gear to use its full potential. The retail tag sits at roughly $500, making it a heavy financial hit compared to the older Helix 1500 that had documented firmware issues at close range. Entering the elite tier, we have to talk about air supply and high-pressure portable compressors. The primary operational bottleneck for any PCP owner is keeping the rig fed. You cannot throw .357 caliber lead downrange if your carbon fiber tank is running on fumes. Relying on a manual hand pump is physically exhausting and introduces unwanted moisture directly into your gun. On the flip side, scuba shop refills are geographically restrictive and increasingly expensive. Owning a personal compressor has transitioned from a luxury to an absolute necessity. Let us look under the hood at the thermodynamics involved here. Compressing air to 4,500 psi generates immense amounts of heat and condensation. The GX Pump CS4i utilizes an upgraded 350-watt motor driving an advanced 4-stage compression system. To mitigate thermal failure, it features a highly efficient internal water and fan cooling mechanism. This completely eliminates the need for external buckets of ice water, allowing the unit to maintain up to 5 hours of continuous operation safely. Firing this system up gives you a steady, rhythmic mechanical thrum, like a heavy diesel generator kicking into gear. It effortlessly pushes to a staggering maximum pressure of 5,800 psi, perfectly matching modern tanks rated for full 300 bar fills. Portability is completely locked in because it features a built-in power converter. You can run it straight off a standard 110-volt AC wall outlet in your garage, or hook it to a 12-volt DC vehicle battery out in the field while hunting. Here is the harsh financial deal breaker. Stepping up to a continuous duty cycle compressor is a serious investment that will drain your wallet fast. If you try to save cash and drop down to a budget-friendly option, like the Sprytech 110, you are forced to rely purely on standard air cooling. When you push those cheaper budget units to fill large, high-capacity bottles, they struggle, labor, and overheat constantly. You have to pay for proper water cooling if you want unlimited, reliable air. Closer to the crown, we are diving into the absolute nervous system of airgun tuning. Next-generation radar chronographs. Precise velocity measurement is the foundational metric if you want to throw 50 cal slugs downrange with any consistency. Historically, shooters relied almost exclusively on light-dependent optical chronographs, like the old Caldwell ballistic precision screens. Cloud cover, the position of the sun, and indoor fluorescent lighting frequently resulted in failed readings or wild inaccuracies that ruined testing sessions. Let us look at the mechanics of why the entire industry shifted to Doppler and chirp radar technologies. Traditional chronographs track muzzle velocity at a single point, but the Caldwell Veloci radar utilizes chirp radar to track projectiles continuously downrange. This gives you a complete picture of ballistic performance by recording the exact rate of deceleration. That continuous tracking effectively calculates the true ballistic coefficient of your projectile, rather than forcing you to rely on the manufacturer claims. Leading the pack in 2026 is the Garmin Xero C2. Packed with an internal processor that is exactly 10 times faster than the older model. It records up to 10 shots per second for rapid-fire platforms like the Scout Semi-Auto. Firing a string over this unit feels effortless, catching velocities like a massive catcher mitt snapping shut on a fastball. It pairs seamlessly via Bluetooth to the Garmin ShotView app and compatible smartwatches, letting you view real-time velocity data without breaking your shooting position. Look, there is a major performance quirk if you step away from the flagship models. The FX Pocket Chronograph D1 offers a miniaturized radar solution that mounts directly to your barrel, but it completely lacks the extreme velocity ceiling of the Garmin. It is strictly engineered for airguns pushing under 1,500 feet per second. If you want the unrestricted processing power of the Garmin Xero C2, the damage to your wallet is $699.99. We have reached the absolute pinnacle of airgun accessories, and number one is the Athlon Argos BTR Gen 3 First Focal Plane Optic. Having the relentless air supply of the GX Pump CS4i sitting at number 3 is great, and the rock-solid stability of the MDT bipod back at number 6 is necessary, but none of it matters if your sight picture is compromised. This piece of glass dictates exactly where your lead impacts, taking the precise yardage data from the Element Titan Rangefinder and translating it directly into physical precision on the target is what puts this scope on the throne. Let us dissect the mechanical engineering inside the erector tube assembly. Unlike traditional center-fire firearms that only produce rearward recoil, spring-piston air rifles generate a violent bidirectional impulse. When the sear breaks, the heavy internal spring drives forward, creating a harsh backward snap, followed by a brutal forward slam. The Athlon handles this physics nightmare effortlessly because its internal erector system and glass-etched reticle are built to resist the severe fatigue that destroys inferior optics. Looking through the glass mounted inside this 30mm aircraft-grade aluminum main body is like staring through a sheet of purified ice. It features a critical 10-yard to infinity parallax adjustment. Standard rifle scopes with fixed 100-yard parallax settings yield excessively blurry images and induce severe parallax error at the close ranges we frequently shoot. Dial in the exposed tactical turrets gives you a highly tactile, aggressive metallic snap with every single 1/10 mil click, Precision marksmen are actively utilizing these smart reticles as complex analog measurement tools. You can instantly calculate wind deflection and target size without ever touching the dials, knowing the subtensions remain perfectly accurate across the entire magnification spectrum. Street price is highly competitive, absolutely burying rivals like the Argos EP4 in terms of chromatic aberration control and return to zero reliability. This is the undeniable king of the 2026 precision market. If your gear operates in analog isolation, you are already losing to the guys who have Bluetooth flowing from their radar to their rangefinder right to their eye. Mastering your barrel harmonics and locking down your physical stability is what guarantees the perfect shot, regardless of the target size or the severe weather conditions. You cannot buy your way out of bad ballistics with just a flashy gun. It takes a cohesive, scientifically grounded ecosystem to push those heavy solid slugs out to extreme distances. Stop relying on the factory specs and start taking control of your own precision. If you want the raw truth without the marketing fluff, lock it in right here.